Hey, what's up? So let's now continue. Let's create a new issue that says make the form functional by displaying the task that you created. Okay. And in this video I'll show you some interesting stuff about Git. I think I will show you just one thing about Git. Hopefully this will finish. Come on. Why it's so slow? Now it's fast? I'm not sure. Okay, make the task form functional. When you click that, I will show you something. You can put the backsticks. Now put the create button. It should display the text as a task in our to-do list. I will assign myself and label will be enhancements, and this backsticks will be previewed as like this. A simple trick for you. So now create new issue. Now submit new issue. So let's work on this one. So here I'm still, if I type, you won't see this kind of terminal. My terminal is custom, but type git branch, you will see that you are still on this branch, but we deleted this one remotely. In locally is not it's not like a mirror of the remote branches or the remote repository, so I need to make it the same. So I will return to master this time. Check out master. So I return to master, but you will notice something, that if I now open the browser, it returns to the original state. The new changes that we have is not being reflected. Remember that I already opened this with Lifesaver, and this is, look at this. I still have my home. I already moved that. I don't have the form. Why is that? Because the merging between the two branches happened remotely. It did not happen locally. So our current master branch is ahead of our local. So our current remote master branch has two commits. These two that don't exist in our local branch. I can actually prove it to you. So let me clear this and hit git log. You will see that in this local repository we have 4 commits. First commit, keep JS and CSS folders, import, bootstrap, and create basic structure. We don't have, these are these 4, right? We don't have these 2 because these 2 happened remotely on GitHub. So to grab these 2 here, we need to type something. So git pull origin master. So this will pull the changes remotely to your local branch. So type it and just watch what will happen. This file should change, but this is a network issue. Let me just put it again. So yeah, as you can see, everything just changed, right? Which is nice. So, and as you can see, it got 2 commits, and these are the number of changes and number of deletions. Now if we type git log, we should see this is the first one. So second, third, fourth, fifth, and the 6th commits. So now the remote and the local branches are the same, which is very nice. So let's make this functional now, the inputs. So as you can see, it's already refreshed since the file changed, which is very nice. That's why I like to use this extension. Okay, so let's create our first JavaScript file. So index.javascript. Actually in JavaScript, this is like the interaction happens. This is how your pages are live. This is how when you click a button, something will happen. When you open something, maybe a request. This is what makes web pages live. This is what moves everything JavaScript. So let me just show you how we can do this kind of stuff. So first thing, we need to have a reference for this button here in JavaScript. A quick way, we can actually give it an ID. So task or create dash task dash ID. I usually like to name my things in HTML in a specific way. It's called kebab case. As you can see, this is like the kebab like stick because of these dashes. So this is how I like to name class names and actually IDs. So let's grab this ID and go here, and before that let me show it to you in the browser. So click inspect or Ctrl Shift I, right click inspect or Ctrl Shift I. You can actually click on this and hover over this button and click now escape. This will open the console for you in the browser. Now this the element that I clicked on will be available in the console using $. This will actually the button, as you can see when I hover over it. So another way to grab it, and this is actually the way that we will be using here, is to put document.get. This is actually was just like a quick tip for you if you want just to test things fast. But get element by ID, this function. Let me make this bigger and let me give it the ID that I gave this button. So this will be equal. So these two points to the same button. So what I can do is this dot on or add event listener. Each time you click it, alert this. I'm pretty sure I typed this in the wrong way, but yeah. So clear. So each time I click this, we will have alert 3 in our browser. So we will do something like this. So we can actually copy this, put it here. Let me format it, and we need to include our JavaScript here. So after the bootstrap stuff, so script with source, go to the JavaScript from the current directory, which is the dot, go to JavaScript, then index to JavaScript. So as you can see, this still works. I can make it sure. So I will change the number, it will be changed in here. So yeah. Now each time we click on this button, we need to get the text from this input. So let's grab this ID and let's just test it first in the browser to make sure. This is how I usually do it. So document.get element by ID passed with this ID, and let me store this in a variable. So const input will be equal to this. Now input dot value will be empty string. Now let me just put some stuff here and value will be this, the things that I added. And actually if I put like this, it will be changed. So this is a good way actually to change and to get the input values. So in this function I will make it empty now, and let me define a function here. So I'll define it in a specific way. This is how I usually define my functions. I create a variable called get input text, and this will be a function like this. You can do it as like this as well, but this is shorter, the arrow function. Yeah, and what I will do, I will put document get element by ID. This will be this ID and it will return the value. Okay, so this will return this, and I will alert and call this function. Let me format this with right here. So let's go and check this out. So create, this will be an empty, but since it's empty by default, now create, this will alert the input text here. So what we can do, I think you are starting to get what we will be doing. Each time we click the button, we will get the input text and we will be displaying it inside a container here. So I think I'll display it under the button. So I will have a section. I will give it an ID, tasks section. So let's go here and create another function called insert task into page. This will be a function like this. It will use the document.getElementById function, and we need actually to accept something to insert in this element. So I will accept the text. Now let's test in the browser to see how we can actually insert something in the DOM in the browser using this function. So this is the section. Now we can actually put append child. This is actually a function that accepts an element. Or you can actually, I think there's another function called insert JSON HTML. Yeah, this is actually a good function to insert HTML in your browser. And you can have multiple ways. So you will get an element, so insert a JSON element, you will give it a position, then you give it an HTML. And you have 4 positions. So for example, we have this paragraph, we have before it, after it begins, before it ends, and after it ends. I think for me this will be before end. I will always add things at the end. So let's just do this. Let's try it. Oops. So this will be like before end, and I will put here HTML. So I will put h1 and in h1 hi, and as you can see we have hi, now hi2, hi3. So let's close this and let's check these out. So as you can see we have these these HTML elements here, which is nice. So this is actually what we'll be doing. So let me grab this and let me put it here. So before and this will stay the same, but here I will put the text like this. Let me format this, and I won't alert the text value from the input. I will just store it in a variable called txt. Now I will call this function with txt. Oops. Let me format now this. Call it with txt. Now let's just check this out. Get the food. Now create. You will see get the food here as a text. Now say hi. It's inserted here as well. You can actually make this a little bit more good. Let's use the backstick here. It's the character next to your 1 in your keyboard. So let's put an h3 and in the h3, and you can actually put a variable inside of this by using $, then the curly brackets. Let's put the text. So let's just test this again. Say hi. Get the food. So anything. Now as you can see it's working, but I need to make this empty, right? I mean the user should everything should be reactive in our application. So let me remake. After you create, or after you click create, this should be empty. What I will do, I'll create another function, empty input text. So it will be similar to this one, right? But I won't return. This one should be equal. I won't return anything. Value will be equal empty string like this. Remember that you can get the value or assign it like this. And after you insert it, just call it like this. So let's just test it. Yeah, this works. But the text, I mean, we should display it in a better way, and this actually accepts empty strings. It does not tell the user anything about empty strings, empty tasks. So yeah, it's really simple. In the future we will simplify this really good, but yeah, I think that's fine for now. It's really, I mean, if you have like good experience with JavaScript, you know that this is really bad. We will make it shorter. So let's commit our messages. So we will do the same thing. So get checkout. Let's move these changes to a different branch. Checkout -b. I will call it make the form functional. I like to put dashes between, not spaces. Okay, get status. Let's look. Oops, get status. We have two files. This one is modified, this one is added newly. So get add everything, get commit, make the form functional, and this get the commit or the issue. We have an issue, right? It's ID 4, so hashtag 4, as you can see. So let's put that there. So get push origin make the form function. So I know I'm not explaining all of this, but maybe I can give you a quick recap. So document is a global object in in the browser, not in JavaScript. It's in the browser that allows us to grab HTML elements in JavaScript, and we can do some things over them. So get element by ID retains an element instance, okay? And these element instances have some properties. So one of them is the add event listener, which is a function that accepts two things: the name of the event and a function that will be executed when this event happens. So anytime I click on this element, this function will be executed. And this function we are doing some things. So the first one, we are getting the input text. So document.get element by ID, this will return HTML element. We will get the value from this HTML element since it's an input. So inputs has this value property. We will get the input from them like this. Now we will store the returned value from this function here. Now we will insert task into page. This will grab the task section, this one, and we'll call insert a JSON element, and we will always put it before end, which means we will always put it at the end. We will always put it as an h3. At the end, we will make the input empty by assigning dot value to empty string. So this has been pushed. Now if you refresh, you will see that we reference this issue. Oh, come on. Why? Okay. So it sometimes does that, I'm not sure. But yeah, make the form function. As you can see, we reference this here in a specific commit. So let's create a new pull request. So the base will always be master, and we will use this branch, make the form function. So as you can see, these are our changes. So create pull request, assign yourself, and we will reference the issue. We will just put it here, like this is the link, output for this. Labels will be enhancement. No one can you can review for yourself, so I'll leave this empty. Just create pull request. So as you can, we have one commit in this PR and two files changed: the HTML and the index with the JavaScript. These two. So the reviewer might look at this. Everything is fine. Confirm merge. This will merge this branch with master. As you can see. Now I can delete the branch. I don't need it anymore. Let's go, and we need to close this. I mean, this should be merged. Yeah, it's merged, and this closed. Everything is fine. Now in our code we have two extra commits. Remember we used to have 6. Now it's 8. the make functional, and the merge and the commit from the merge. So now we need to return to master. This is actually a common workflow. So you return to master. Now we need to pull origin master. You need to pull everything from master to make the local branch matched with your remote branch. As you can see, now it's created index JavaScript and index HTML. It got the modified stuff. So yeah, I hope this was useful. Maybe I'm moving too fast. I'm completely not sure, but I think this is a good way to learn, to just do things by your hand or copying someone else. At some point you will start asking some questions. I mean, what is this, what is that, and you will Google it and you will find more answers. I can't cover everything, but I'll show you how we can do something, and I'm pretty sure this is like not that bad for a beginner, someone who tries to understand how everything gets linked. Sometimes you discover some things that you already know, but you didn't realize that people usually do it. So it's a good thing to hear from someone who works that we actually do this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think in the next video we will style this to make it look good. So yeah, maybe then we will add some validation. So when you click create on empty input, it won't do anything or show you something. So yeah, we'll actually make it good. And something to notice, which is bad, when we refresh, our task gets removed. This is actually why we need the backend. This is just a front-end application, just JavaScript, HTML, CSS. We need some backend code to store this. We won't deal with that, but I'll show you like something like a simulation for the backend code. If you click on inspect, go to application, we have some databases that lives on the browser. One of them is called local storage. So I will be using this to store our information. I will treat it like a database. So when we refresh, everything will be there. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.